You go, boy.
I don't care about the top 10, the top 5, or who the best is. Money straight, my fam straight, I'm George straight, that's Texas. Angel wings on a Lambo, praise the Lord, that's a blessing. Bentley truck like Lex Luger, yeah, nigga, I'm flexing. I'm Richard Sherman, I back it up. And your mama, I stack it up. Hey, Poppy, yo, Gotti, swear to God, I rack it up. Still Jersey, that's all day.
You go, boy.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. All the bombs. Hey world, hey world. Where's my camera? Where's my camera? Where's my camera? Hey world. I'm U-Goboy. As always, it's your boy. Welcome to the U-Goboy Podcast. Before I introduce our illustrious guest, you got a treat tonight, man. Got not just my bestie, but a very remarkable black man, African man, Liberian man, East Orange man, Newark man. A lot of intros. This is my guy. I grew up with this guy here, so this is gonna be really fun. I haven't really talked to too many people that I've grown up with that have known over the decades. God, we're getting old, bro.
Oh shit! I didn't think about it like that. You're so right. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But this is gonna be fun, man. I'm excited for this. Before we start, just two big numbers, and then we're gonna get right to it. We hit 500,000 views on YouTube. Yahtzee. Give me some.
I love to hear it.
Savages.
Love to see it.
Give me some savages.
Savage.
Oh. As always, thank you to the subscribers, old subscribers, new subscribers, all my followers across all platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You guys have been building up this channel. You've been building up this pod. You've been building up my music as well. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. You guys are the best. And on TikTok, we are at about 194,000 views on TikTok, the hashtag. Yahtzee. Give me a Yahtzee. Can I get a Yahtzee? Oh, actually, give me some woos. Give me some Ric Flairs. We got the belts. Why not? Shout out to the Nature Boy. So again, and as always, the merch is here. U-Goboy merch is here. Grab yourself some U-Goboy merch in the link below. We got everything: hats, t-shirts, hoodies, the whole nine. I'm gonna get my boy right, of course. You got the throwback shirt.
Oh, I sure do.
Yeah, but you gotta get the new
Street Fighter joint?
Yes, Yahtzee. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Can I get a Dom DeMarco? so well placed. Yes.
That's so cool. Can't get over that.
Yo, that's day and a half.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so grab yourself some merch as always. Merch is doing well. We got new merch coming as well. The Yahtzee t-shirts, we got those. Those are out. Those are doing well as well.
I expect those too.
Oh yeah, everything. We got them all. So grab yourself some merch. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. On tonight's episode 10. Hit 10? Double digits. Yeah, 10. My favorite number, and I have my favorite guy here for my favorite number.
Who was number 9?
Number nine, I think was Sports Talk. We did Sports Talk. Number 9.
Copy.
Yeah. So I've been saving this. I've been saving this. 10 had to be special. It's my favorite number. So got
good number.
Yeah, it's the best number.
I say best. It's a good number.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there. So without further ado, our guest tonight, my man, Edward Mosley. The one and only. He was born in Newark, New Jersey. 6 siblings. He's right in the middle. Eddie went to middle school in East Orange, New Jersey at Sojourner Truth, fellow alum as myself. And he went to high school at St. Benedict's Prep in Newark, fellow alum. This is a running theme.
It is.
At Benedict's, at a time, in an all-boys Catholic prep school, Eddie met some amazing people that would shape and change his life forever, for better and for worse. One of which is his best friend from elementary school, who happens to be the reason why he's writing his bio. St. Benedict's was the first place that Eddie saw what true excellence looked like, whether it be athletically, academically, or even socially, emotionally, just excellence all around. He's also a member of 520 Corp, was Renaissance Corp. We both were employees to that.
Yeah, man, I have to get that money.
First job. That was my first job. Was that your first job?
Definitely my first job.
Yeah. Oh, Yahtzee. I remember that. So he also became the president of 520 Corp at one point.
Start making the big bucks. Whole $1.25 more.
Downtown, right? Spend that downtown.
Man, them Marvies ain't paid for themselves.
Oh, give it a Dom DeMarco. Give it a Dom DeMarco.
I was talking about Jabos the other day.
Yo.
Kids had no idea what I was talking about.
I had a pair in college. I still had a pair in college.
I had my Jabos. I shouldn't have tossed it, man. I donated it the last one, and then I regret it now. I really wish they was going to come back.
They were making a comeback.
I just needed 5 more years. They're going to come back. You're going to see.
I wore mine till the wheels fell off. Them joints ripped. And I was like, you know what? It's time. I had to let it go.
Yeah, man.
But fast forward, education has always been an important part of Eddie's life. From his parents pushing him to do his best, to his grandfather, who was very important to Eddie. Godfather, always reminding him to get your education. Eddie started as the founder or co-founder of Comp Sci High School, and he also started out as a computer science teacher and director of the CS department. He now serves as the senior site culture leader for the Comp Sci Seniors. On episode 10. Double digits, baby. Of the U-Goboy Podcast. Get the Dom DeMarcos. Get the Dom DeMarcos lined up. We got Edward Mosley in the building. Give me some.
I love his energy.
You gotta have it. All of it. All of it. All the energy.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I'm in the classroom. Like that's when it's like easy to turn it on there. I be trying other places like, yo, when I'm in a classroom, it's so easy, but
facts. It's
just like, I like the way you turn it on.
You got to, man. Got to get the people what they want. Got to get the people going. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So let's take it all the way back, man. We met, for our viewers who don't know, we met in 4th grade.
4th grade.
Where were you at before? At George Washington Carver, formerly Columbian School.
East Orange.
Where were you at before you got to Carver?
I was in some Newark middle school. Damn, I forgot the name. I really did forget the name. I remember my teacher, though, in 3rd grade. Her name was Miss Joyner.
Was it Gordon Parks? I think so. I was one of the schools.
I remember where it was at.
Yeah.
It was like right off of Springfield Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Madison Avenue.
Okay.
That's where it was. Damn. Whew, I ain't think about that in a minute. I have to go way back. But yeah, after that was 3rd grade, and then we moved to East Orange. Found the school. It was like right down the street off of Grove. George Washington Carver.
Yeah.
Grade.
You were in Miss Trimming's class. I was in Miss Gollop's class.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about Miss Trimmings off camera. You know, I'm pretty sure she's still a baddie.
I mean, I was blessed to have her as a teacher.
I get Dom DeMarco for that.
That's what I would say. Very blessed to have her as a teacher.
Oh, yeah. So I remember the first time we actually, because our brothers knew each other first. Ralph and Kingsley. Ralph being your older brother, Kingsley being mine. And I remember the first time me and you like actually talked or like were around each other was in Quetch program. That's the first time. That's
True.
That's the first time I remember.
We were in different classes.
Yeah, we were in different classrooms and different home bases.
Started beefing after that.
What do you remember from the Quetch program?
I remember I was just talking about one of my students about this. I remember Future Problem Solving
FPS.
and Odyssey of the Mind.
Yes, both still go on to this day.
That's so crazy. I gotta get in that. But yeah, I was just talking about how I didn't really appreciate or understand like the having a venue to just like think about stuff and like be creative and express yourself in those different ways. But it was fun.
Yeah.
I think we used to get our asses whooped, but
we finished. I remember we went to the state finals for both, and I remember we finished 3rd in the state.
I remember feeling like we were better at Odyssey of the Mind than Future Problem Solving.
Yes.
The Future Problem Solving, I was like,
way harder.
I'm not used to thinking in this way, and so like it was a lot harder. But Odyssey of the Mind, it was like, just like be creative and come up with like fun, cool stuff to solve the problem. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I remember the last one we did, I think it was like a feather duster.
Yeah, we did a skit.
Yeah.
Like inside like a card store.
Yeah.
I was the narrator.
You were the narrator?
I was the narrator.
Yo, dang.
I remember the narrator.
I remember it was me and Catherine.
Yeah, Kathy, shout out to Catherine Stevenson, our homegirl Kathy. She was like, she was just the weird, funky lead character. I think
she was.
I think you were one of the store owners.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, she's like trying to convince me to get it or something.
Yeah. And that was so. I mean, I look back on that, man, and that was for the quote unquote GT kids, the gifted and talented program that we were both in. Yeah, super nerds over here, Yahtzee, all that good stuff. But it's like I look back on it, bro, and it's just like that shaped, because we're both creatives. We both create. We've always been creatives. This is testament to that. This is a podcast. This is my show. You know what I mean? And I get to bring people on that I want to bring on and talk about what I want to. But I have to write every episode. I've got to research every episode. I've got to, that intro song you guys hear, and so forth and so on. But the platform to create and to be around other creators, I think it was birthed there in a Quest program. I mean, looking back on it, do you look at it that way?
I definitely think of it as like a foundation of reinforcing my own ability to create and be a creative, and also just like expressing myself. And I think what really kind of magnified that was middle school. Bowler's class. Yes,
Mr. Ted Bowler. I think he's a principal now.
Is he still?
Yeah.
I remember we visited him that time.
We did. We definitely visited him. He was
he was like vice principal.
He was vice principal, and I remember him eating fried chicken. But, but shout out to Mr. Gafele. We talked about Mr. Bowler on the show. What do you remember from what I remember from that class? Because it was math and math link. So the first period was math, and then the second period was not math. It was
Link.
Link was like math. Link was like, all right, Black's Law Dictionary.
Yes, yeah, that's what I remember from it.
And the Dogon people, and so forth and so on. Like how do you think Mr. Bowler, how do you think he influenced you?
Well, one, going to Math Link, he would just like apply all these things to the class that had nothing to do with algebra, nothing to do with math, but they were just pure knowledge. They were learning, and if you were just willing to listen, like you really walked away just like feeling enriched by the knowledge that he imparted in those classes. And he had that, and I tell my students this all the time. He had this one time he said to the class, he wasn't even just talking to me as an individual. He said, no one taught y'all how to think.
I remember him saying that.
And
I remember him saying that.
I was just like taken aback, like, man, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, I think all the time. I'm thinking right now. Like,
in school.
But I just like kind of obsessed with that idea, and like he would touch on it often in the way of like, we're taught to follow the algorithm, taught to just like go along with the flow, and we don't really disrupt or use our curiosity in ways that we used to. And that's been like guiding me ever since I had that realization. I've been like, I gotta think for myself. I gotta figure it out, and I try to impart that in my students as well.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, give me a Savage there and a Dom DeMarco.
Savage.
Good times. Good times, man. By the way, like the video, subscribe to the channel as always. So I mean, again, he was on episode 5, I believe. So Mr. Kafele, Principal Kafele. I'll never call him Baruti, and I didn't when he was here. It just sounds weird.
It never even came out my mouth.
Exactly. Thought never even crossed my mind. You mentioned middle school as being like a big turning point for you. Where did Mr. Kafele factor into that with the way he ran Sojourner Truth and ran the school that we were both a part of?
Being in education, I often think about how I was educated in the places that I was in, like what were the good things and what were the things that I would like to change. And now that I'm in a position to do that with the high school that I'm at now, there's nothing holding me back.
Right.
I think seeing Kafele, and as I reflect on him now, like he essentially could run the school however he wanted to, and he had us sing the principles of Kwanzaa
every day.
And
Black
like
National Anthem.
you know,
Black National Anthem.
I come into little girls. I'm like, oh, your name's Amani? You know, that's Faith. Like I still know what it is now because of those days. And like everything, I always apply it to how I approach education now. Like I don't expect my students to just like walk away just because I taught them one time and say, you know what, I really learned something. Like, you know, it takes a couple times at bat before you can really get it to hit home. And so I use that power of just like using that platform of, no, this is what it is right here. Like you have no choice but to learn this thing. Whether you accept that now or appreciate it now, it doesn't matter. Like you have it, you'll use it someday. Oh
yeah. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Can I get a woo? Can I get some Ric Flair? Get some Ric Flair, please. Thank you very much. Woo! Thank you. By the way, we got Marv on the boards. Perdomo. This guy runs the place.
Bravery up.
So let's get to Benedict's.
Benedict's. Oh, Benedict's.
We're both 2006 alumnus of St. Benedict's Prep. Get a bomb for that, please. Thank you very much. Bula Bula, Garnet and Gray, all that good stuff.
Backing you.
How did you end up going? Because my story, I love telling my story when people ask me, but I always love to like find other people's origin stories. How did you end up picking that? Because we both could have gone to EO High.
Sure could have.
And who knows where our trajectories would have gone from there. But how did you end up going to Benedict's?
I ain't picked nothing. My mom was like, yeah, you're going to Benedict's. And just like Mr. Bowler said, like, I don't think. So I didn't really think that much of it. Like, oh, I guess I'm going to Benedict's. Like, I wasn't like, oh, let me fight back and try to go somewhere else. It didn't even matter at that point. It was like, if she told me I was going there, I trusted that it was for some reason. I didn't even know it was all girl or all boys school when I applied, though. I just kind of applied like, I know I'm going to get in, so I'm not that worried about it. And I got there for the overnight and was just like, where the girls at? I was disappointed for a little bit.
I went back a couple weeks ago. Mr. Booker, our vice principal from Sojourner Truth, he's a Benedict's alum and Morehouse alum.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to Mr. Booker. The book.
Was it Kevin Booker?
Kevin Booker. GOAT, man. He's gonna be a guest. Actually, I'm gonna do a show with Mr. Booker and Mr. Gafele together. Like that's gonna be legendary. I can't wait for that.
Put me on. Let me sit in the stands or something.
I'll give you the heads up when I put that together. The hardest working men in showbiz right there, trying to get their schedules aligned. But yeah. So I remember I went back and it's co-ed now, which is hilarious. The uniform is kind of still hoodies, but it's like I think Yasin also, shout out to Yasin Shabazz, he designed the freshman overnight shirts. How crazy is that?
I saw them when they were rolling those out.
Yeah. So it's a very different culture. Rich Molina from our class, he's one of the big wigs over there. Chris Hodge, he's a teacher there.
What?
A lot of guys from our class, they became lifers. You know what I mean? So, but going back though, that was my first time going back in a while. I mean, I went back a bunch of times like right after college. But I hadn't gone back in a minute, and you know, Duffy was there. A lot of our teachers. I
saw Duffy when I went too. I went this summer.
Nice. Did he have the long Jesus hair?
He sure did.
Shout out to James Duffy. What I'm gonna do. This is basically the same Benedict series. So I'm trying to get that's another thing I want to do. I want to get a panel. I want to get like a panel of like guys from our class and teachers and staff and just to talk about the experience. Did you see the CBS 60 Minutes piece?
I did.
That was powerful.
I did.
That was really good. Just doing incredible things there. What do you remember about Benedict's now as an educator? Because you kind of have to like compare everything to now that you're doing it to like when you were in those shoes. But what do you remember about Benedict's?
Well, I was there. What was it?
That was 02 to 06.
Mid-July. This past summer, I was there talking to Cassidy about school design.
Shout out to Glenn Cassidy. Go.
As I stepped into this new role for this year of like a site lead, essentially like co-principaling the senior site since our 9 through 11, they're in our first building, but there's not enough space for all of them, so we have a second site for our seniors. And so now I'm working with another guy, Logan Brooks. He's like leading the instructional part. I lead the cultural part. And so trying to think about, when I think about Benedict, I think a lot about the culture and how the students essentially ran the school.
Yeah.
Like you had the senior group lead who was just like at the top.
Yeah.
You had the section leaders, and then you had the group leaders, and, you know, the kids did the thing. The adults were there to kind of like steer us and guide us in the right direction, but for the most part, a lot of the students did the thinking, and I want to take that aspect of the experience and recreate it at Comp Sci High.
That's dope. That's dope. We need Dom DeMarco for that. That's fire right there. We were both I think we were group leaders. Pretty sure we were group leaders. I was
VK.
You were VK.
WK.
WK. Yeah, fitting. Yeah, I mean, just remember our freshman year. I think Roosevelt Donat. I think he was the.
Rose.
Yeah, he's a lawyer now.
He got the look, yo. That fool is fucking kingpin, yo.
Shout out to Roosevelt Donat Esquire.
Yeah, yo. Talk about intimidating presence. That fool had so much presence.
I didn't want to mess with him, bro. He had that presence.
He just had it, man.
Yeah, man.
He just commanded that respect.
For sure. I didn't see Father Ed. Shout out to Father Ed. I'm going to get him on the show next year as well in 2023. That's a big goal of mine. But Father Ed was kind of like the George Steinbrenner, kind of like the, you know what I mean, Jerry Jones, wherever you want to put it. He kind of ran the place. Yeah. He had all the titles, but was kind of hands off, but still had all the titles and all the stroke.
Yeah, he popped up to yell at you. Let you know what you're supposed to be doing, tell you how you're not doing a good job and do better, and you know.
Just like a guide, like we mentioned before.
Yeah.
Shout out to Father Edwin Leahy. He will be a future guest. But yeah, Benedict, man, what an experience. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this moving. So after Benedict's, we went our separate ways. This is the first time we weren't classmates. In over a decade. If you think about it in a minute. I went to Penn State. You went to Columbia. What went into that? I think I asked you, but it was years ago, and I don't remember your response. What was your college selection process like? Because you were up there. Like I think you were top 5 in our class or top 10 in our class.
I was.
I was top 25, barely. But you pretty much had your pick of the litter. You know what I mean? So like, what went into you picking Columbia? Who else were like options, and why'd you pick Columbia?
I remember applying to all these colleges, and at the time I was really bad at asking for help. And so when the process came around, I was just kind of like trying to navigate it myself. I would go to Carnahan, and he was like telling me some stuff, but I wasn't like fully registering it. And so I finally got frustrated, and I was like, yo, fuck this, man. I'm going to apply to Rutgers. That's my backup, but I was planning on applying to Duke. I know Duke was your go-to.
Yeah, and you didn't tell me.
I was going to apply to Princeton. I was going to apply to all these other schools, and I was like, I don't even want to go to those schools. Like, I looked up Columbia. I didn't really know it was Ivy League. I knew it was a good school because that's what I looked for. I said good schools close to Jersey. And then I saw the lion, I saw the blue as their colors, and I was like, oh, I like those. It's a good school. It's got blue, and it's got a lion. That's all I need to know. I said, I'm going to Columbia. And that was like the confidence that I had back then. I said, fuck it, I'm going to put all my energy into this application. And if I don't get into there, I don't have a future. And that's literally what I said to myself. Oh, I had Rutgers. Exactly. And I did get into the engineering school. I applied for electrical engineering. And electrical just sounded cool. And my uncles were electricians. And so I was like, oh, those should be the same thing. They're not the same thing. And from there, I found out what the difference in levels in preparation could do.
Yeah, so you were a guest speaker at Road to Success. Shout out to Road to Success in New York. And that was the first time I was sitting with my students, and that was the first time I had even heard about what exactly happened with you in college? Because again, we went to different schools. We were in different states. We were distant from each other like that. So like we didn't really have the line of communication we have now or that we had growing up or whatnot. So I didn't even know what really you were doing over in Columbia. You didn't know what I was really doing at Penn State. You know, it wasn't until after college we kind of reconnected and you know what I mean, got back on track. But it's like at college, when did it register with you that, yo, this is different. Like I'm not like the shit. I'm not the guy anymore. I'm just like everybody else. Like I
was a big fish, little pond. Definitely freshman year. Definitely was like a culture shock, just like on the campus, and like I guess race and my blackness was never as important to me as it was when I got there. And then even that aside, just like recognizing the gap in my educational preparation and like where I needed to be in order to actually function on the level of my peers. And at the time, I had not developed the courage to struggle in that way that was necessary for me to grow. And so I just kept avoiding it, and eventually like came very close to just dropping out and becoming a statistic. Because I literally said, like, fuck it, I'm just gonna be a statistic. Like, can't do it no more. And I specifically added in my intro, one about my siblings and then two about my godfather, because in the time that like I hit this pivotal moment of deciding who I was, like, am I the person who's gonna like actually give up and like go home in shame, or am I gonna like figure this the fuck out? I thought about, one, what do I want my siblings to say about me? And then two, my godfather just saying, like, you know, always get your education. Always get your education. I bring him up because, like, my junior year in college was probably the worst time of my life. It was the first time I had to go through a loss that actually affected me. Like, I lost people in my life that like weren't that close to me. Yeah. My godfather essentially like co-raised me with my godparents co-raised me with my mom and my dad. Like, I would stay with them for most of the week. My parents picked me up on the weekends. Like, you know, they were out there leveling up, doing what they had to do, and like, you know, and so I had a very, very close relationship with them. And then my godfather passed, and like I was already struggling in my classes, and it was just like after that, I said, fuck it.
It's like an avalanche.
Yeah, like
one time it's piling on.
I will say it is the reason I'm so good at Smash Brothers now. Instead of going to class, I just was like on Smash the whole time. I just go to the lobby. People want to come up. You get smacked down. And now I got these kids who bring in their Switches everywhere thinking they got the juice. I'm like, let me show you.
That you got the sauce.
Ways.
Sauce is different than juice.
When I pull out that GameCube controller, they be looking at it like a fucking relic of time. Like, what is that? Does he have Excalibur? Like, what?
Savage.
Marvin's approving. He's a Smash aficionado too.
But yeah, I lost my godfather, lost my great-grandmother, lost my dog. It was just like a time of great loss, and I did not have the tools to navigate in that way. And so like one thing after another just kind of snowballed, and that was like the tip of the iceberg. But I do use that as like the drive and foundation for why I'm so passionate about education now. And I literally have like these kids, they were just texting me Happy Thanksgiving. We graduated our first seniors last year at Comp Sci High.
Nice. Dom DeMarco for that, please.
Dom DeMarco.
Love those kids. They're our founding class.
Yeah, it's the inaugural. Those are your Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
They really are. Never thought that I could love what I do as much as I do when I go to Comp Sci High. My wife gets jealous of that all the time. All the time I'm talking about it. Like, even in my worst days, like I love what I do, and I love seeing the impact that one person can make on so many people. And whenever we have conversations about success, I tell my students, like, you know, it's all about how you define it. Like, you know, you can chase money if that's what you want to chase, great, find it. But like, it's up to you. And I have come to measure my success in the amount of lives that I can impact.
Oh.
And in Comp Sci High,
love to hear
every day I'm like seeing the impact that I make. And when my kids are texting me, you know, like updating me about how things are going in college and their struggles, and like I got a kid who like I saw so much of myself in, like just brilliant kid, but he did not like, you know, to challenge himself. Mm-hmm. And now he's at Tufts Engineering, and I'm like, yo, as someone who's been there, make sure you're on it. But like seeing the impact that I make is everything for me, and just like knowing that there are people out there who have so much potential, but like they could fall by the wayside. I want to impact as many as I can.
Oh, facts. Hey, another Dom DeMarco.
Dom DeMarco.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We got Eddie Mosley in the building.
Eddie with a Y.
With a Y. Don't ask why.
Important.
The Y is very important. My guy here. So let's talk more about Comp Sci, because I remember when you told me about it. This was years ago. This is when it was in the early stages. You were just like, "Yeah, I might be starting a school," and I'm like LeBron, like the I Wish school or whatnot. You're just like, "Yeah, something like that," like starting a school.
Yeah.
How did it happen? How did it happen? Walk us through it, because to this day it's incredible. Just hearing you talk about it is incredible, but the origin story is even more incredible.
Well, first I'll say that I'm somebody who deeply believes in the spiritual and the universe and manifestation.
Facts. Ric Flair Woo, thank you very much.
Anything what we put out there, we're gonna get it back in some way.
Facts.
But
Big
I truly
facts.
believe. One of my favorite books, The Alchemist, he says that when you truly commit to wanting something and really going after it, the whole universe is going to start shifting and moving in your favor. And I think about my experience at Columbia, where there was this huge challenge. There was this calling to grow in a way that I've never grown before, and I essentially ran from that. And after that, I recognized, like, I was working at Harlem Children's Zone, and I realized that, like, I was working so hard doing all these things, but like they would not pay me what I was supposed to be paid. I asked them, like, hey, like, yo, I'm doing my regular job of like my caseload of 30 kids, and I'm coaching the robotics team right now. Like, that's 2 full-time jobs. Like, come on, can I get a little extra pay? They're like, yeah, sure, of course we can pay you. Of course. And then they said, oh, wait, we didn't realize you didn't got your degree. And in that moment, I recognized, like, yo, like, they didn't care that I could do the job. They just cared about me having this little piece of paper that said, like, you know, you got the stamp of approval.
Yeah, you're qualified. Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I'm literally already doing the thing. Just give me my money while y'all playing. And in that moment, I shifted from like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Maybe I can't do it, to I will do everything in my fucking power to make this happen. I don't care if I got to give up my pride. I don't care if I have to destroy the parts of me that are holding me back, whatever it takes. And then that shifting of my mindset, I realized how much power there is in just like how you make a decision. At Comp Sci High, I got there. I told you I was at Harlem Children's Zone. Then I went to Success Academy, and that's where I met my principal. Mm-hmm. He says he's a white dude, but I look at him as like he's like Persian and Jewish.
Hey, he's a different type of white.
He is. When I look at him, like, I don't know. I just like I really respect him a lot, and he doesn't have Kafele vibes, but he has like that essence about him that like you know he's here and he's here for the good fight.
He's got a presence about him.
He does. Yeah. And so I really I loved working with him when I was at Success Academies, but I just felt like I couldn't really serve the students in the way that I wanted to. And when I stayed a third year there, which is long for Success Academy, only because I wanted to continue working with him. Then I found out, oh wait, like he's actually leaving. So I asked him, like, hey, like, you know, what are you doing after this? And he came up to me and he said, hey, like, actually I have a project that I really wanted to get your help on. And that was when we first started talking about Comp Sci High. we started thinking about what the vision of the school is going to be and what that mission is. And like I told you, like going back to Bowler, never taught you to think. And our school is called Comp Sci High, and it's, we picked computer science because although it would be great to have a couple of Elon Musk or Bill Gates or anybody come out of here, we only need one or two.
Yeah.
The real goal is to get students to learn how to think. And we apply computational thinking. Computer science is just a great vehicle to show them how to think. Because when we think about what is the one skill that if we can really get it right and teach kids how to do this, that will make them as employable as possible, thinking, being able to problem solve, being able to figure some shit out. And that's where we started constructing the vision of the school.
Love to hear it. Dom DeMarco, please.
Dom
Get them
DeMarco.
going.
Dom DeMarco.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I love it. I love the Wolverine X-Men origin stories of people and their careers and so forth. Now, for those who don't realize it, you're a black man or African man, however you want to sum it.
Liberian American.
Liberian American. We're the sum of our parts. Wise man once said that. West Africa in the building, Nigeria, Liberia, all that good stuff. How have you? I asked this question to Mr. Kafele, Principal Kafele. I'm going to ask it to you. I'm going to ask it to every educator I have on here. You're the second educator I've had on here, second of many to come. How have you navigated race and education, especially prior as a teacher and now as a co-founder / bigwig executive?
When I think back on just like my overall educational experience, I used that lens to see like, okay, what were the things that led to my experience that I had when I was at Columbia, and like, how can I put students on a different path to be able to make decisions that further their own interests and really help and serve them when they get to that level, whether it be college or their jobs or whatever that thing is. Like when the opportunity comes, will they be ready?
Yeah.
Essentially. Our school does a lot of equity work where we think about what the factors are that are really hurting and holding our students back. And ultimately, it's always a racial thing, unfortunately. It's like when you think about the funding and the access that we have, when we think about who our students are competing against and the resources that they have at their exposure compared to what our students are working with, and like we're always playing catch up. Being at the high school level, like we see the ninth graders that first come into school and where they're at in terms of their reading, and it's like they went through 8 years or a lot of them went through like 8 years of just like being told they couldn't or being made to feel like this was not a place for them. And so we aim to get students to understand the power of learning and the power of knowledge and the power of just like knowing that you have different paths for yourself. Like I tell my students all the time, like I would never tell you that school is the only way, but being dumb ain't the way either.
Give me a savage there, like, please.
The people who dropped out of college and became millionaires, they were geniuses. They all were masters in a certain trade, and like that's fine if school is not for you, but how are you going to apply your knowledge and your learning to reach that success that you want? And that's really what I'm trying to approach students with. It's never about there being a certain way. It's about figuring out your way.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Even Dom DeMarco, please.
Dom DeMarco.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Now I know you mentioned not trying to find maybe the next Elon Musk, maybe the next Steve Jobs. I think that he comes to mind as well. The next Walt Disney, who knows? The next Bill Gates.
Take whatever we can get.
What's been the most proudest moment as an educator, like in totality? I remember you mentioning that you guys went to Google.
We did.
Yeah, and so I guess that's up there, but I don't want to lead the witness. So what what would you say your proudest moment, whether in Comp Sci or before, has been in education?
Man, the Google stuff is really, really cool.
It's up there.
We have a lot of people that we work with. We have a lot of companies that we've aligned ourselves with and we work with, have generated partnerships with. Google's one of them, Verizon's one of them, Microsoft is one of them. We have a lot of design competitions in which like we try to give students as authentic an experience as possible of like knowing what those race stakes are without it being in a traditional academic setting. All those things are great. I feel as though my real proudest moment was the second year Comp Sci High was open. When I came into my role in that first year, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. And I was like, damn, like I barely got out of Columbia myself. Like I literally had to reteach myself computer science because I didn't learn it while I was at Columbia because I wasted that time and I didn't have the courage necessary to brave that fear. And now I recognize and come out with a different mindset. Like, I can learn this stuff, but am I at a level to run a whole program, to build this vision? In the first year, like, it was okay. It was all right. Nothing that amazing, but in our advisories, I realized, like, oh man, like I love this advising thing because this is an opportunity to really like impact them at the ground and start shaping how they're viewing and perceiving their experience here. It was the second year when I was there when one of my favorite students, I'll openly admit that.
Yeah, it's okay to do that.
Denaya Chantel Jordan, I want to send you this link so you can see it there.
Lovely.
But she came up to me one time, I think it was around this time of the year actually, because we were like doing like some get together in class, and she was like, yo, like, thank you, Mr. Mosley, like you helped me realize that I am smarter than I give myself credit for. And it was in that moment that I realized, like, yo, like I am one of those people who can impact the change of people. Like I'm not just assisting people. Like I have a responsibility and obligation in this work to show up at my best to reach those deniers and reach those other people who are on the fence about themselves and like don't quite know, who could easily go one way, but that's all it takes sometimes is a nudge. Same as Mr. Bowler did. Like I go in every day with this idea, like there's something I could say today that could shift somebody's thinking forever. What's that going to be? I try to bring that every day.
Absolutely. Another Dom DeMarco. Keep him coming. We're here with Eddie Mosley. Episode 10, U-Goboy Podcast. This is going to be one of my favorite episodes. I already know it.
Mine too.
Of course, I would hope. I'd like to know. You want to ask me? You had off camera. You had prefaced said you were going to ask me something. I feel like you are.
Something I think about often when we hang out, when we get together, anytime I think about that time in which we weren't talking.
Yeah.
When I was in college.
Yeah.
And I know you remember it.
Yeah.
But it was just something that senior year where like the idea of like going out on my own, like I was excited by it, but I was also kind of scared about it. And I don't know, there's just something about you that reminded me of that fear that I just kind of was avoiding or trying to reject. And I just like, it came out as annoyance and frustration with you. And then in my freshman year, I started realizing like, oh, like, one, I don't really think I'm that great at making friends. And two, like I have this great friend in my life that I've been mistreating, and I just need to get my shit together.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time it was a very humbling point in my life. And so whenever like you invite me to stuff. I was telling my wife, like, yo, like, Ugo is one of those friends who, like, he's a ride or die right there. And I've learned to really start cultivating those relationships a lot more intentionally instead of taking them for granted. So I always appreciate when we come together.
You go, boy.
Thank you. Thanks, man. That means the world. As you were saying that, my girl told me this one time. She said,
Your
that,
girl?
Yeah, my girl. You know this.
My mom was talking about her the other day.
Yeah, she was. She's like, when are you getting married? When? Edward is married. When's yours?
Savage.
Your mom is my mom, and it's hilarious. Like, our moms they're twins. It's ridiculous. But she had said something to me a while ago, about a couple months ago, actually. And she had said that I just don't understand, and it's just it's amazing that she was talking about me. She's like, you always show up. You always show up. You're consistent. You don't, no matter what you're doing, even if it's an inconvenience or whatnot, you still understand that relationships matter, that people matter, that bonds matter, and that you just regardless of whatever, she just knows that I'm just gonna be there. I'm going to show up. Mind you, I've known her for like 15 years. You know what I mean? And for her to say that, it hit me. And I just know with our bond, I just knew that no matter where we were throughout college or whatever the disconnect is, whatever it was, I just knew that at some point it'll all make sense. It'll play out the way it's supposed to. It's funny, The Alchemist is her favorite book, and she's been trying to get me to read it forever.
It's a sign.
It's definitely a sign, and I will read it, before she kills me. And it's like, everything that I've done and that I've been a part of, whether the show, whether music, whether relationships, whether friendships, I'm just a big believer in putting the work in being consistent, and the universe will reward you. And it's not really so much about, when you want it to happen, because the way time works is it works out when it's supposed to happen.
I agree.
So it's not necessarily like, oh, I got to have $1 million in the bank right now because that's what I want and that's what I deserve right now. Like, maybe you're not ready or mature or prepared or have the tools to even navigate that wealth that you think that you need, that you think that you want.
I say that to my students all the time. The only thing worse than not getting what you wanted is getting it and not being able to handle it.
Facts. Give me a Ric Flair woo for that. It's facts. It's the honest to God truth. I mean, I thought about starting the pod last year, honestly, and I was going to do it in my basement.
The pod.
I was going to do it in my basement. I was going to do it wherever in my bedroom. Green screen it up with a background of like green pastures or whatever.
Make it work.
But finding Bravery Studios. I found that through Ivory. Our yeah.
What?
So Ivory's
that fool Ivory.
Yes, Ivory's cousin. Ivory's cousin is Danash from Under Review. And he was like, yo, I want to put you in, because he saw me doing the music stuff and he saw me, talking about doing a pod. And I did, obviously, the bass podcast with my brothers from New York and from Penn State. He was just like, yo, man, my cousin does it. Or my god cousin, I forget how they're related, but they are related. He's like, yo, you got to talk to her, man. She's all about the this, that, and the third. So she invited me on here to Bravery Studios to Under Review. And I've been a guest probably 5 times now. But by the 3rd time, is when I really had the conversation with Marv of what I wanted to do and what my vision for what I was trying to build. And, I brought the bass. I did an episode of the bass on here first. And then probably about a month later, we started doing the U-Goboy Podcast. We started on June 9th of this year.
It's a good day.
It's a great day. It's my brother's birthday, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I did it on purpose.
It's my boy Charles' birthday.
Not Charles Alway.
Nah. Although
shout out to Charles Alway.
I was working with him.
No way.
I was working with him when we were planning the school during our planning year.
Really?
We used to connect with him a lot.
That's a wild boy.
I know. He's grown up a lot.
That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
But no, so it's just like, I appreciate you saying that, man. I really do. It means a lot. To me, friendships, I don't really look at them as like, yeah, these are people that I know that I grew up with. No, I look at family and close ride or dies. I look at them as one and the same. There are some friends I talk to more than I talk to family members that I'm closer with,
Definitely
that I
agree.
confide in, and you know this as well. So it transcends that, and I always, for whatever reason, in Quest, sitting next to each other, you talk about mambas. Give me a savage for that.
I tried those again for the first time a little while ago.
They're just
it was busting though.
Yeah.
It was busting.
But from that time, I don't know what it was. No, I do know what it was. It was God. It was God. It was Creator. It was the universe. Something just told me like, yo, you should stick around this guy, like, for whatever reason. He sees things the way you see it, or he kind of understands it. And then I found out you're Liberian. I found out you've got a crazy African mother too, like me, and that you look, again, you're a creative. Creatives are drawn to other creatives. They just are. People that have that innate ability to see something, they see a circle and be like, it's not really a circle, that's kind of a sphere. You see it as a circle, but it's not even two-dimensional, it's actually three-dimensional. And then when they look at it closely, like, how'd you see that? God did. That's, you know what I mean? So
when I think about those times, I recognize that I was just like in autopilot for a long time.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning
going back into that, thinking for yourself thing. I would just kind of react to things, and I didn't really stop to appreciate anything. And I didn't really think about friendship a lot until college, and I realized like, oh, I gotta find my people. And I was blessed to find my crew out there. Actually, my boy Izzy just visited me a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
But a big part of like how I started to shift even then was actually like looking at the stuff you were doing when you were in college. Like I saw your stand up.
Yeah, I was doing stand up comedy. Taking it all the way back.
And I did this so before the pandemic, and we're actually starting to get some people to visit now, but our school would have a lot of visitors come by to just kind of like check it out, talk to the students, talk to the teachers, see something about the model. And they did an interview, and I was telling them like a big reason that I wanted to become a teacher is because like I thought about doing stand-up at one point.
I think you'd have been great at it, honestly.
I had too much stage fright. Like
Really?
I would try to go up, and I would just like, I couldn't think of shit.
Oh, man.
And so like when you're teaching, you're essentially performing every
that's a
single
bit
time.
right there, bro. You know that.
And so it's definitely helped me boost that confidence in that way. But like looking at you doing all these different things and just like putting yourself out there, and then you start going for the music. My mom would always say to me like, yo, ain't he Nigerian? Like, doesn't his mom know he's supposed to be don't he know he's supposed to be a doctor or something?
A lawyer.
And so like just seeing you like take your own path and do it your own way, I thought was actually very inspirational for me, and really encouraged me to just like, well, what's my thing gonna be like? I don't feel like going in the stand-up route right now, but what am I gonna put my creativity and art into, and then being able to shape an educational institution is where I like to put my creativity and my art.
Yeah, and you're thriving in it, which is, it's a beautiful thing. You love to see it. You love to see it. You get another Ric Flair woo. One more. All right, we're at about coming up on a 5-minute mark. It's about that time, folks. By the way, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're at 500,000. That's
500,000. That's impressive.
Thank you.
That is very impressive.
Thank you. Again, one more time, round of applause for all the fans, all the viewers, subscribers, old subscribers,
How would
followers.
you describe your audience, like your base?
I think we're a little bit of everything, man. I think because listen, quick behind the curtain, you have to like you have to have target audiences to do target campaigns and Google and so forth and so on. So, I mean, for the sports stuff, sports junkies, people that love ESPN and love Stephen A. Smith, people yelling on their TV 5 days a week.
We have been hoodwinked.
I actually work on his show, believe it or not. I work on his podcast. I'm a producer on there.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
So humble brag. So yeah, for the sports side, those nuts. And for the podcast side, I just try to steal as many of Joe Rogan's people and Joe Budden's people and Fresh and Fit, and I try to steal as many as I possibly can of just the quote unquote the bigwigs, those cats. So if you, the standard American podcast viewer from the coasts, East Coast, West Coast, Georgia, so forth, Atlanta, Miami. So yeah, that's the core. That's the core. People that like podcasts. That's the best way I can sum it up.
People do like podcasts.
They love it now. It's growing. And Bravery Studio. That's what it's here for. That's what it's here for. Okay, we have time. We do every episode. We do a round of rapid fire. And this week's rapid fire is brought to you by Comp Sci High School.
Yeah, it is.
Of course. And it's also brought to you by U-Goboy merch. Available now in the description below.
U-Goboy.
Grab yourself some merch now. Of course. So, I mixed these up. It's a little bit of everything. We have a lot of repeat answers, which is wild on 10 episodes in. But let's see if I have a feeling that you're gonna have a lot to yourself. So this should be fun. All right. So, rapid fire. Here we go. Let's ride. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Favorite word?
Unacceptable.
Ooh, like that. That's a first. What is your least favorite word?
Panties.
Give me a savage.
It just sounds weird
Savage.
to me when I have to say it. Panties.
There's got to be a Family Guy episode about that somewhere. We both love Family Guy, spoiler.
Brooke from One Piece.
In your group of friends, are you the one that's always late or the one everybody brings their problems to?
I'm not always late. I don't know if they bring their problems to me. Every now and then they'll bring their problems to me.
I mean, you're an educator, so
when we're together, when I see them, we always talk about problems. So yeah, let's go there.
I like it. Biggest pet peeve?
People who litter.
Like it. Considering we both grew up in a hood, that's hilarious. But
it was the hood that made me not litter.
You're right. East Orange.
I remember I threw away a piece of trash one day, and this random dude just looked at me and said, "Pick that up." And I've never littered again. Like, I will hold the garbage until I find the trash based on that one man scaring the shit out of me when I was a kid.
I feel like doing a slow clap from Pursuit of Happiness and Will Smith. I love it. I like it. Worst fear?
Oof. Not being who I think I am.
So kind of like that imposter syndrome you were mentioning before?
Like, I think I'm this person who can impact and create this change, but falling short sometimes don't feel as good.
It's deep. Kind of dark, but deep. I like it. Favorite movie?
The Matrix.
Nice. Remember Mr. Frey?
Oh, yeah.
We both.
Learning about imaginary numbers.
Folk high.
Got into the Matrix.
We both took advanced algebra, and that was hilarious. Anyway, keep it going. Favorite book? I think you mentioned it, Alchemist, right? Or do you have another
up
one?
there? Oh, I got a lot right now. I'm reading 48 Laws of Power, and I'm loving it.
Nice.
I'm loving it.
I think I gotta add that. I have to add that. Actually, yeah. You give me the info for that. I want to add that to the collection. All right. Favorite subject in school growing up?
Math.
I knew it. You were always the math nut, and I know what the next answer is. I already know it because I know you. What subject did you hate growing up?
Hate?
Or was your
History,
least?
so
Yeah, I knew it. I called it. I knew it was history. I knew it was. Because I remember, quick sidebar, I got an A on one of those freaking Dr. Sterner tests And you were just like, how the hell did you do that?
There's so much to remember. So much.
I'm good with dates. I'm good with dates.
Not my cup of tea.
Random items is like, no.
More power to you.
But you with your freaking quadratic equation, that's all you, bro. That's all you. That's all
it.
you. Favorite snack?
Favorite snack? Dried mangoes.
That's a first. I mean, usually we get goldfish, and even Marv's face.
I don't mess with them dried mangoes. I think it's delicious.
Hey, to each its own. To each its own. Somebody said walnuts one time, and it was a rapper. But
you enjoy some walnuts. Had some the other day.
That's a first. I don't think we'll ever hear that again. So congratulations. Celebrity crush growing up.
Growing up, I didn't really care for celebrities like that when I was growing up, but I did like Halle Berry.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Swordfish happened.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I see what people are talking about.
We've had a lot of conversations about Halle Berry over the years. Okay, she still got it.
She
I
does.
follow her on Instagram. She's still
Definitely
gorgeous. Shout out to Halle Berry. And last but not least, what is one job you think you'd be good at if you weren't an educator?
What job would I be good at if I wasn't an educator? I really think I'd be good at spy.
A good spy?
Yeah.
Like 007 status?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know,
I can see it.
shaky moral compass, a willingness and mindset to do what it takes. It's in the rules. I don't mind abusing that power.
What would be your... You can't have 007. What would be your number? You got to pick a number.
009.
009. I like it. Like a spinoff right there. That was Rapid Fire, brought to you by Comp Sci High and the U-Goboy Podcast, U-Goboy merch.
You go, boy.
As always, we're going to take it on home. Plug your stuff away. Where can people find you? Where can people find information about Comp Sci High? Have at it.
Comp Sci High, compscihigh.org is our website. You can go out there, see the mission, the vision, and the values. You can check it out, and there's a donate page there if you like to bless us in that way. For me, I am on Instagram at CodeSwitchKing, code with a K. And that's it.
I love that your IG handle. That's fire. I've always wanted to tell you that. I don't think I ever
I
did.
appreciate that. Thank you.
'Cause
it was when I started educating and I started learning more about code, and I was like, oh, and I'm also good at code switching, and I went with it. Gotta switch it up.
Because they teach coding. Comp Sci.
Nah.
You see what he did there? You see what he did there? All right. And as always, U-Goboy88 on all platforms, TikTok, IG, Facebook, u-goboy.com. Still revamping the site. And the songs, the music, Tippin', my latest video is out. We just hit 32,000 on the YouTube channel. Jonah the Great, Juice vs. Sauce, 5-Star Dancer, Bruce Wayne Money. Streaming on all digital platforms, all doing numbers on YouTube and the Apple Music and Spotify and all that good stuff. So check that out too. Oh, Yahtzee, all that. Shout out to the bass. Shout out to the bass as well. Bass Podcast. Of course, the merch one more time.
You go, boy.
Bravery Studios for holding your boy down as always. And of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And we're going to sign off like this as always. That's the belt. That's the other belt. This is my day one, Eddie Mosley. I'm U-Goboy. Love you guys. Yahtzee, we out.
Top 10, it's top 5 on who the best is. Money straight, my fam straight. I'm George straight, that's Texas. Angel wings on a Lambo. Praise the Lord, that's a blessing. Bentley truck like Lex Luger. Yeah, nigga, I'm flexing. Richard Sherman, I back it up. And your mama, I stack it up. Hey, Poppy, yo, Gotti. Swear to God, I rack it up. Still Jersey, that's all day.
You go, boy.
Yahtzee.